We followed chalk arrows bending back on themselves. A voice called our names from ahead, yet the light revealed only architectures of bone and a cold draft that spoke in syllables of stone. This is the Paris Catacombs, France, Empire of Bone, a city beneath a city where history is stacked shoulder high. Walk with us into orderly walls of skull and limestone while we listen for footsteps that never quite catch up. A city beneath the city. Long before the bones of millions were laid to rest beneath Paris, the ground was already scarred with human ambition. For centuries, men quarried limestone from beneath the city, a pale, pliant stone that would shape cathedrals, bridges, and rows of elegant facades. These subterranean removals left behind a fragile honeycomb, a hidden void beneath the cobblestones that over time buckled under its own absence. By the 18th century, another pressure erupted, this time from above. The cemeteries of Paris, overfilled and unsanitary, had begun to spill into the streets. The worst offender was lay innocent, whose decaying weight pressed heavily on public health and the conscience of city officials. In 1786, beneath the reign of Louis XVI, a decision was made. Led by Charles Axel Guillemot, appointed as the first inspector of quarries, workers began transferring human remains surreptitiously under cover of night. What began as a series of emergency burials inside stabilized sections of the old mines slowly evolved into something else entirely, a subterranean reliquary. Later, in the early 1800s, Louis-Étienne Héricard de Thury undertook the daunting task of reordering the remains. He introduced a kind of morbid artistry. Femurs and skulls were arranged in patterns, bones stacked like cordwood with ornamental facings, and corridors labeled with solemn inscriptions. What was once a crisis of space had become a monument to the anonymity of death and the precision of engineering. Today, the official catacombs stretch just under 2 kilometers, but this is merely a sliver. Beyond the sanctioned trail rests a vast and often unmapped network of galleries that extend for hundreds of kilometers beneath the left bank. Some tunnels are well-hewn and geometrically sound, while others dip into tight stone channels scraped raw by time and moisture. At the intersections, weathered stone tablets still bear street-level names and markings, left there by 18th and 19th century surveyors attempting to bring order to this underworld. Their efforts endure in silence, interrupted only by the slow drip of water and the quiet echo of footsteps that seem both far off and impossibly near. The catacombs hold what was centuries of Parisian life reduced to bone and symmetry. The surrounding quarries hold what remains, shadowy arcs of geology and history that continue to settle slowly beneath the metropolis. Markings, maps, and murmurs. The catacombs beneath Paris are far from uniform. Within this subterranean labyrinth, architectural contrasts jostle side by side. In some corridors, ancient masonry pillars rise from the floor like forgotten monuments, forming slow processions through the gloom. Elsewhere, chalk markings and alphanumeric tablets appear on the walls, cryptic scraps left by quarrymen, surveyors, and inspectors who centuries ago mapped out the rising danger in stone. These early efforts were anything but arbitrary. When the Parisian ground threatened to collapse under its own weight in the late 18th century, these meticulous records became instruments of salvation. Geological inspections were transformed into an underground cartography, turning chaos into a managed space. As documented in historic quarry maps maintained by Paris Musée collections, each tunnel and shaft found its place on paper before it echoed in the dark. But beyond these human attempts at order, the ossuary developed a presence of its own. Water drips echo like metronomes. Air hushes through low passages and perforated ceilings. Even the rumble of city traffic, muffled and abstracted by meters of limestone, becomes part of a deep, ambient hum. It is a geography where sound stretches and bends. Those who explore it, cataphiles as they're known, often speak of noise with reverence. They describe voices taking unexpected turns, or footsteps arriving around a corner before the person. In side galleries, sound is unanchored, slipping through walls of porous stone and returning altered, as though it picked up an accent from another century. According to both police reports and museum archives, such as those cited in The Guardian's coverage of catacomb rescues, disorientation lurks around every bend. Darkness isn't the only obstacle. Anecdotes combine with archival records in remembering Philibert Aspert, a man believed to have entered these tunnels in the 1790s, only to lose his way forever. His remains were discovered years later, heartbreakingly close to an exit he never reached. Whether that story survives as legend or documentation, the message remains the same. In this place, orientation does not belong to logic or instinct. It belongs to stone, to echo, and to a kind of silence that isn't truly empty. Here, the shortest path is never guaranteed, and what you hear, you may not be meant to follow. 3 nights underground. In the summer of 2017, beneath the restless streets of Paris, 2 teenagers made a decision that would echo through the city's stony underworld. They crossed the threshold of the official catacombs and stepped into the unwatched dark. What began as a thrill or a dare quickly unraveled into disorientation. Beyond the museum route, the curated, well-lit corridor visited by thousands stretches a sprawling network of forgotten arteries. Nearly 200 miles of interlaced tunnels rib the city, each one a seam between limestone past and hidden present. These abandoned quarries, some as old as Paris itself, form a maze where direction is as malleable as shadow. According to The Guardian, the teenagers became lost in this subterranean world for nearly 3 full days. Rescue efforts surged above as police coordinated search teams, aided by dogs trained to scent through variable underground airflow. Down below, the temperature remains steady at around 14 degrees Celsius, a chill not harsh, yet unrelenting. It is a cold that does not wound but wears. No sunrises, no dinners, no clocks. Time in the catacombs becomes internal. There are no cues, just the echo of your own panic, bouncing against skeletal walls and vaults that do not reply. The boys were eventually located, their bodies intact, but their confidence hollowed. Emergency responders reported signs of dehydration and shock, yet above all, survival. Their rescue, though rare, was not unprecedented. These tunnels have seen search crews before. The Paris Musée's collections contain century-old quarry maps, scrawled and incomplete, a reminder of how easily even the best intentions can lose their way underground. The boys' ordeal joined a growing archive of incidents, each a quiet warning humming through the limestone halls. The message is elemental. The catacombs honor no trespass. The public path is a monument bordered by respect and safety. Beyond it lies a network that does not care for curiosity. Orientation blurs. Sound travels where sight cannot. And beneath the city of light, darkness has all the time it needs. When sound arrives first in the depths of the Paris catacombs, where every tunnel shares stone with memory, an unsettling phenomenon plays out with eerie consistency, voices reaching ears before their makers reach sight. To the casual explorer, it's unnerving. To physicists and engineers, it's simply acoustics behaving as the underground demands. Among these tight corridors and low, uneven ceilings, sound moves in ways it never could above ground. The tunnels act like natural waveguides, elongated spaces that carry low-frequency sound efficiently, allowing it to travel farther with less loss. As outlined in acoustic studies of underground chambers, such conditions favor the bass tones of speech, which can wrap around corners, slide through bends, and emerge from unexpected angles. This means a shout, muffled yet clear, might seem to come from ahead, even if its source is steps behind or around a blind turn. Limestone walls, curved arches, and moist, uneven floors all conspire to scatter, reflect, and reshape vibrations. Over time, voices lose their clarity. What begins as conversation softens into echoes, stripped of direction and stretched into spectral tales. Then there's the air. Driven by subtle shifts in pressure and temperature, currents snake through the tunnels, ferrying scent and sound without regard for the people who generate them. According to quarry maps preserved in the Paris Musée collections, these subterranean corridors were never built for coherence. They were carved over centuries, with little thought toward alignment or airflow. The result is a chaotic acoustic maze. While voices float forward like phantoms, footsteps behave differently. Damp clay underfoot absorbs much of the vibration. Rough stone walls scatter the rest. And throughout it all is the ever-present drip of water, masking movement, cloaking approach. It creates a space where presence is heard before it is revealed. Witness accounts and urban explorer reports, like those from the so-called Catacombs, have long noted this strange imbalance. You might hear laughter echo faintly, turn a corner and find nothing. Or sense someone nearby, only to realize they've been behind you all along. It is not that voices literally outrun footsteps. Rather, the stone embraces one and disorients the other. Here, sound is a traveler in its own right, unfettered by walls or flesh, shaped only by the geometry of the empire of bone it haunts. Explanations and echoes beneath Paris, where the weight of centuries compresses silence into stone, the catacombs whisper in ways that defy easy understanding. Over the years, visitors have tried to explain the strange auditory phenomena that fill these tunnels. Phantom footsteps, voices that seem to come from nowhere, and sounds that twist away from their source. Some speak in hushed tones of spirits who move without weight, spectral presences that slip through the bones and flickering candlelight. This folkloric view, born of unease and centuries-old superstition, thrives in surroundings lined with millions of skulls and femurs, reminders of the city's forgotten dead. But science suggests less supernatural forces may be at play. Sound behaves oddly underground. In certain straight, narrow corridors, it travels long distances with little decay. Low-frequency waves can propagate efficiently along these stretches, sometimes faster than footsteps themselves. In larger chambers, acoustics behave like Helmholtz resonators, enclosed spaces that enhance particular frequencies, giving rise to eerie reverberations and disorienting echoes. According to geological surveys and historic quarry maps from Paris Musée collections, irregular walls and limestone fractures scatter sound in unexpected ways. In places where tunnels nearly touch but never meet, noise flows through porous gaps in the rock, making it seem as though someone waits just around a corner that doesn't exist. Then there is the brain, always interpreting, always filling gaps. Psychologists note that in low-light, low-sensory environments, our minds turn up the volume on auditory input. The absence of visual confirmation makes every creak and shuffle loom larger in our awareness. Surrounded by silence and skulls, it's easy to hear what isn't there. The human mind, prompted by fear or familiarity, can conjure companions in the dark. Modern sounds infiltrate these depths too. Reverberations from traffic, footsteps from metro platforms far above, they travel down through old utility shafts and ancient faults in the stone. By the time they reach a listening ear in the catacombs, they are unrecognizable. Detached from their source, they arrive like rumors, fed through layers of shale and centuries. Taken together, the explanations don't reduce the mystery, they multiply it. Physics, psychology, and folklore each solve a piece of the puzzle. But stitched together, they form something deeper, a revelation that the Paris catacombs are not inert. They are a living instrument, carved by geology and history. And when we enter their corridors, our own senses become the strings they play. Stewardship of the underworld. Beneath the constant rhythm of Parisian life, the catacombs lie in uneasy suspension, a world unto themselves, curated, contained, and quietly watched over. Today, visitors are led through a designated museum route, carefully maintained and reverently structured. Along this path, etched phrases offer solemn reminders. Stop. This is the empire of the dead. It's more than spectacle. It's intended as reflection, a stilling moment in the heart of the labyrinth. But beyond the illuminated corridors lie miles of unauthorized passageways that defy governance. Entry points are guarded, and from time to time officials seal breaches in stone walls, in the concealed doors of old basements, and even in storm drains where the curious have trespassed. Despite this, the catacombs remain porous. In 2004, during a routine training exercise, police officers uncovered an illicit movie theater in one cavern. It had chairs carved into rock, a projection system, and even a fully functioning bar. The space was wired for power and sound, proof that the underworld draws not only the dead, but also the imaginations of the living. The cataphiles, modern urban explorers, leave behind more than footprints. They chart paths with hand-drawn diagrams, digital maps, and whispered directions. Some have turned their informal surveys into extensive catalogs of a domain most Parisians will never see. Still, the dangers persist. Many tunnels are prone to collapse. Some flood without warning. Air can thin or grow heavy with unseen toxins. In the catacombs, time stretches in ways the city above cannot measure, and fatigue becomes its own hazard, especially in passages where one corner looks indistinguishable from the last. To preserve what lies below, conservation teams work in shifts, bolstering sections that threaten to fall. They do not only reinforce walls, they protect meaning. The walls of bones, carefully stacked and labeled by district and year, are both architecture and memorial. Every femur, every skull was placed not for display but for order, a human geometry to contain the chaos of past centuries. Above ground, Paris continues to evolve. The expansion of metro lines, construction projects, and the constant reshaping of groundwater flow all force engineers and geologists to consult with the Inspection Générale des Carrières, the very office founded in the 1700s to tame the quarry's darkness. Their records are vast and their responsibility enduring. And so the catacombs persist under a quiet compact, a city of the dead kept in peace, so the living can remember just how deep their foundations truly go. Listening to stone, the catacombs of Paris do not so much whisper as they mimic, returning your sound not quite as you gave it, but altered, tilted by time and limestone. You speak or shift your weight and hear yourself echoed back with a new timbre. It creates the illusion that the tunnels are responding, when in truth, they are only obeying the slow geometry of sound. Here, architecture becomes an accomplice, not because it was designed with intent to confuse, but because it has waited. For centuries, these galleries have stood quiet and unbothered, allowing water, silence, and folding air to shape the space in imperceptible increments. What feels deliberate is simply the result of patient physics. Yet no visitor walks these ossuaries without sensing a deeper order. Bones stacked with deliberation, crossed femurs cradling skulls in mathematical repose. The remains of more than 6 million Parisians have been arranged here in eerie symmetry, forming patterns that echo the city's grid above. Inverted and hidden from sunlight. Down here, the past is close enough to touch. It lines the corridors at shoulder height, brushing your periphery with every turn. According to records detailed in the Catacombs of Paris archives, this subterranean empire was born of collapse and necessity, a response to overflowing cemeteries and unstable ground. But what remains now is something stranger, something steadier, a reminder that nothing buried ever stays entirely silent. Even a whisper carries weight underground. The walls respond faster than footsteps can arrive. A clink of metal, a single breath, becomes a suggestion rather than information. You learn to tell the difference between sound and signal, between fear and the simple distortion of acoustics. Memory trails you here, and in stone, it sounds just enough like direction to make you turn the wrong way. The labyrinth teaches a quiet lesson. Down here, distance is not merely measurement. It is a negotiation between presence and echo, invitation and erasure. And sometimes what reaches you first is not a warning. It is a lull, a breathless invitation to move with reverence, to listen more than you walk, to ask what it means when silence bends before you do. You have been listening to Nightmare Nook. Beneath Paris, sound finds you before company does. Subscribe for more journeys into spaces where history alters perception and where the route out is as compelling as the path in.